How to Deal with Critical People. Part 2, The Prophet. Jesus. What the heck? You gotta warn me when you're gonna do that.
Communication training with Stan O'Connor.
So last week we talked about the saboteur, and next week we'll be talking about the messenger. This week, it's all about the prophet. Oh, jeez, you gotta warn me when you're doing that. We're going to learn how to recognize them, what they're here to teach you, and finally what to say when you recognize them. Are you ready? All right, let's start off with defining the prophet. Merriam-Webster defines a prophet as one who utters divinely inspired revelations, or one who foretells future events. All right, let's break it down.
Wow, he's breaking it down.
If you've been following along with the 9 principles, you know that I firmly believe every person we meet, we are supposed to meet, and we are supposed to meet every person that we meet, and we will meet every person that we're supposed to meet. And in addition, the divine is love. So therefore, if people are bringing a message of the divine, they're bringing a message of love. And we are not here to teach lessons, we are here to learn lessons. And every single person that we meet is our lesson. So therefore, ipso facto, every single person that we meet is going to have a lesson of love to teach us and is going to be either our prophet or our false prophet, depending on who we decide to be to them.
Wow, he's breaking it down.
That's in a nutshell. If you're like me, you tend to look for it in the people that you identify already as a prophet, one of my prophets. You know, you look like you are bringing a message of love. If you look that way, I tend to gravitate towards you and think, I'm gonna listen to you because you look like an angel, and angels bring me loving messages, so I'm gonna listen to you. But that's not how they always come. Sometimes, you know, a message of the future that's coming from a real prophet sounds more like,
oh honey, you will never get a man if you keep dressing like that.
or,
you know that no one will ever take you seriously as long as you cut your hair like that.
or,
If you keep doing this, you're gonna get that.
or,
Don't eat Mike and Ike's before you do a video. It doesn't come off.
you know what I mean? That's when a prophet reveals himself or herself to us, sometimes as a false prophet. How do we know? These are the 3 M's that are the litmus test of real or false prophet. Motive, manner, method. If they have the right motive, you know, I know that my mother always has the right motive. Therefore, that in her case is so overwhelming, I can forgive the manner and the method. Because I realize the motive, that outweighs everything else. But let's say you're trying to decide, are you, what's your gig here? Who are you? Ask yourself, manner. How did they say it? Now, maybe you're someplace on the spectrum and it is difficult for you to judge what somebody's manner is. Ask yourself, were they smiling or laughing while they were delivering news that they knew would be uncomfortable for you or hurt you? If they were, that's not the manner of a prophet. You know what I mean? Method. Did they tell you this in private? Or did they tell you this in public? Did they tell you,
You know, they are not going to take you seriously in that outfit.
as you're walking into a meeting? Or while you still had time to change your outfit? What was the method that they used? Did they prophesize in a way that was meant to expose you when they could have protected you? See what I mean? And motive. What relationship do you and I have that would encourage you to say these types of things? Would it be for my well-being? In what other instances have you shown me that you have my best interests at heart? That is how you can tell a real prophet from a false prophet. Motive, manner, and method. Simple. Now, having said that, let's say that somebody did prophesize. You know, they told you,
If you do that, you're gonna get that. If you keep doing that, you're gonna do that. As long as you're like that, you'll never get that.
the reward that they get from most people is simply getting away with it. Here's what you say to them. Remember, they're used to people not calling them on their behavior. They're used to making others feel the way that they feel. You're not going to give them that. Instead, remember, body language is always key. You want to face the false prophet. It's just like, have you ever seen The Exorcism? You know, he's calling out, they call out the demon, and by calling out their name and then saying, show yourself, show yourself, show yourself, something like that. You know, it's like every Sunday night we're like, Mom, show yourself, show yourself, show yourself. And, you know, her head starts spinning around and, the green vomits all over the house. But those are just the people eating her dinner. Where were we? Call them out. Face them. Use their first name. When you use somebody's first name at the beginning of your sentence, John, Marty. Now, by the way, you're going to use a disappointed tone with the false prophet because you're disappointed in them. You don't need to say that. You're just going to let them know that. Remember that when you nod your head forward and you use a tone that goes down at the end, not one that goes up at the end. If I told you I'm disappointed in you, some people talk like this. You don't want to talk like this. You want to make sure that your tone goes down. Marty. Direct eye contact, head nod forward. Marty, when you say XYZ, are you trying to be helpful? If it's just someone having a bad day and you were to say, Jane, Tom, when you say that, are you trying to be helpful? Most people who are just having an off day would say something like, I apologize, that was a little snarky, that was a little nasty, that was uncalled for. I apologize. And you can always say, no harm done, I forgive you. However, let's say that you were to say, Marty, when you say XYZ, or Jane, when you say XYZ, are you trying to be helpful? A false prophet, not wanting to have the mask lifted off, would say something like,
I'm trying to be helpful.
Again, use their name. When you are calling someone out on their behavior, keep using their name, keep looking forward, don't break the eye contact until the very end if you want to give them at the end, okay? But say something like this. All right, Marty, I'll take you at your word and believe you because I have faith that you really are here trying to help me. However, that's not the type of help that works with me, and I think you know that. Don't you, Marty? Now, remember, when you're calling out the prophet or other different difficult people, look at the power that comes with being able to single them out and use their name 3 times. Marty, are you trying to be helpful?
Yes, I am.
Well, I'll take you at your word for that and believe you and have faith that you are trying to help me. But, Marty, I think you know that that type of help doesn't work with me. Don't you, Marty? Now let's talk about sentence structure for just a moment, okay? If you took my flagship course, Step Out of the Shadows and Speak, in some of those lessons I talk about sentence structure and how it is key. Our entire message can change if we misplace a word. If we put something in the beginning where it should go at the end, or put something in the middle, or we don't emphasize the right thing, we can sabotage our messages by not knowing how structure works and how it impacts the message that we deliver. In these messages, disregard what I said in those lessons when I was talking about put the real subject at the beginning of the sentence, because that is true in many cases. There's a difference between saying, I need that report by the end of the day, and that report is due at the end of the day. Different messages, you know what I mean? But in this case, what I'd like you to focus on is the last thing you say. When you're talking to a prophet, when someone's about to ascend into the heavens, it's going to be the last thing that they say that people will remember. Those are going to be the words that people will cling to because they're the last ones before the person went poof. Keep that in mind. In this situation, the last thing that you say is going to be what people will be hanging on as well. Therefore, choose it wisely. In that particular case, what I wanted to emphasize was, right, Marty? You know that, don't you, Marty? Look how the message changes if I put, that is not the way to be helpful with me. If I were to put that at the end of the sentence, watch how it changes. Mart, when you say XYZ, are you trying to be helpful?
Why, yes, I am. I'm just not as burly and as manly as you are.
All right, well, I'll take you at your word and believe you because I have faith that you are here to be helpful.
Oh, thank you. You are such a righteous, good, honest, good-looking man. Much more than I am. Just wanted to add that.
However, Marty, I think that that's not the way to be helpful with me. Now I just changed that message to the emphasis on with me, mister. You know what I mean? Or I could put the emphasis on I'm taking you at your word. Marty, when you say XYZ, are you trying to be helpful?
I think we've been over this. I really am. I am. And you're manly. Much more than me.
All right. Well, I think you know, Marty, that is not the way to be helpful with me.
Well, I
But
do now. You said it 3 times.
I'm going to believe you because I have faith in you, so I'll take you at your word. Now the whole message really comes down to I'm going to take you at your word. So you'd better be here to be helpful. You know what I mean? That's going to be, especially the more and more you craft your communication skills, that is going to be what people are hanging on, your final words. Okay? Now, having said that, let's say that you're dealing with a false prophet that's, they're pushing it and they're like,
Well, I'm just trying to be helpful.
okay, you may need to tell them, I'm guessing my brother Marty, if I remind him, Marty, I think you know that that's not the type of help I respond well to. Don't you?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me. I'm sorry.
If I were to say that to him, probably by the time we got there, he's going to snap out of it and say,
All right, fine, you're not. Okay, I'm sorry.
in the spirit of total transparency, we must disclose that the voice of Martin O'Connor was not, in fact, played by Dan's brother Marty. It was played by former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. It was. He would probably do that. If he has not, if people are still,
Don't be so sensitive. I'm just trying to help.
tell people. Well, Mart, I have learned that when people are offering that type of help or advice, if they don't have the right motive, if they're not using the right method, and they don't exhibit the right manner, they're really not trying to be helpful. I'm not trying to say what you're doing, but being helpful is not it. So I reject both your assessment and your advice. If somebody is putting out there in the universe with words what they believe is going to happen to you, if they are prophesizing,
Cancel the prophecy.
and the way to cancel the prophecy is to say, I reject both your assessment and your advice. You could even say, I reject both your observations and your prophecy. Simply saying, I reject what you're saying, is letting somebody know. You threw that at me, I put up my barrier of white light and said, nope, I'm rejecting that, have it back. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? If you say to somebody, I reject both your assessment and your advice, and your prophecy, I reject it. You can go ahead and say it, I reject it.
What are you gonna do about it?
There's nothing that people can do about it once you have rejected both their assessment and their advice. So, and remember, use the broken record. Yeah, well,
I still say, you're never gonna get a man if you dress like that.
and again, I reject both your assessment and your prophecy. When you call people out, like if somebody says, here's what I think is going to happen to you, and you call them out as prophesizing, and that prophecy I reject. I mean, it's you got to have fun, because these are the situations at the end of the day that are really going to reveal much, much, much more about you than they will about that other person if you handle them right. Okay? Now let's get to the people who really are our prophets. The people who are there with a message of love. They could be a child saying,
You never listen.
or,
You're always busy.
or,
You never do what you say you're gonna do.
or,
This relationship is going nowhere.
you know what I mean? When people start telling you things that cut, they cut deep, you notice them. They draw your attention. The reason they draw your attention and you notice them is because they are noteworthy. They are worthy of our attention. They speak truth to us. And they speak to something in us that responds to it in a visceral way. Many times when people, especially those we love, give us really harsh criticism like,
You never listen. You just do what you want to do anyway. You're always busy.
things like that, usually we get defensive, because we want to be a better person. We want to be a good father. We want to be a good mother. We want to be more loving. We want to be good listeners. How could you say that I'm not? I love you. So we tend to show these people the worst side of us. And they tend to, when they prophesize with us, do it in the worst way, because you know how we tend to have it backwards. We give the people that really deserve the best of us the worst of us, and we give the people that really don't deserve any special treatment the best of us. You know what I mean? We will, at work, show people who we do not even know, who are contributing zero to our spiritual, intellectual, physical, financial, or any other type of growth, contributing zero. We will put on the best face we have for them and speak in the best customer service language we know.
Madame.
For them. Then we'll get home and we'll think, ugh, I don't need to sugarcoat anything for you.
Oh, could you ever do what you say you're going to do?
You know what I mean? Forgive them. But hear the message. When people tell us, when people prophesize with us, and they love us, you know this. There's no doubt, kids can say really hurtful things.
I hate you, you're the worst mother ever.
They can say those things. Number one, do not respond in the moment. Do not. If this is a difficult prophecy that they're, coming out with, the I hate you, you're a terrible listener, you just don't get it, you never listen, those types of things, and you know what this means is, I hope you know what this means is, I'm not feeling love from you. That's what that means. I'm not feeling, in this moment, in this situation, in this relationship, in this instance, love from you. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling loved. That's what they're trying to say. Let them say it. Do not respond at that moment. It will not be effective, and they are not ready to hear it. I'm going to say that again. It will not be effective, so you will just feel either bad or worse, because they are not ready to hear it. They need to say it. They need to express themselves. Sometimes we need to say things out loud just to realize how ridiculous they are to begin with, but we need to say them. If something's coming out of us, it's because it was in us. Hold their hair up, pat them on the back, get it all out. Let them get it out, and then come back later and show them that you heard the message and you're going to make a change if they requested one. If they just said,
You suck.
I just don't think this is working anymore, whatever the message was, and you want to show them, I believe in us. I have faith in you and me. I'm going to be a better person, but I'm going to be doing it with you. We're going there 2 by 2. If you can forgive me, because I love you. Those are the types of message you want to deliver afterwards. The way you want to deliver them is, remember the 5 love languages. Learn all about how to answer a real prophet using the 5 languages in part 2, coming out later this week. And subscribe now to be notified, or join our channel to interact with us and participate in the conversation. If you can do that, those false prophets will know to go spread their prophesizing with someone else. And the real prophets in your life will know that they can come to you when they need to give you a message that maybe is not perfect, but is coming from love. And it's so that you can be a more loving father, spouse, brother, a more perfect version of you. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, the more we are open to these prophets, who are the most important of all critics, the more you will start seeing them everywhere. Because again, every single person that you meet, if you're open to it, will either be your prophet or a false prophet, depending on who you decide to be to them.
It's the prophet.
So, with that said, make sure if you have not done so, to subscribe to this channel, but the best way to really support this channel, if you'd like to support us, is to click on the join button below and become a member of the Dan O'Connor Training YouTube channel. Once you've done that, go over to the Dan O'Connor Training website, and if you're not yet a VIP member, consider becoming one, but at least pick up your free communication starter kit. I think you're really gonna like that, before coming back here and enjoying some more of these great videos. So for everybody here at Dan O'Connor Training, this is Dan O'Connor and Maggie and Buddy signing off.